Did you know that we celebrate both Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month and National Nurses Month in May? Well, my next guest represents both. Welcome, Christie Cronan of Raising Whasians. Hi, Christie. How are you?
Hi, my friend. How are you? It's good to see you.
I'm doing really well. Thank you for joining me. You've got such an incredible story, and that's really all I want to do today is just to bring awareness to AAPI Month in particular, because I know you've shared so candidly, especially on your Instagram account. Can you give us just a basic foundation of when or kind of how the AAPI Month started?
Yeah, so it basically started to celebrate almost 180 years of Asian American and Pacific Islander contributions to the U.S. So history, culture, achievements, and it really helped shape the foundation of our country. It started back in 1978, but honestly, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. But it started back in 1978, but it also commemorates May of 1843, when the first Japanese immigrants arrived to the U.S., and also May of 1869, which is about 2 decades later that they finished the transcontinental railroad that was completed mostly by Chinese immigrants.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I also want to say something. Just because you are an Asian American, you don't represent the weight of everyone on your shoulders. I know it can feel like that sometimes, and we're going to talk about that in a second, about what people can do to really celebrate and honor this month. But can you just touch a little bit about what it means to you? Why is this month important to you in particular, and the community that you do represent?
I think because there's been a rise in racism and violence against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders in the U.S. since the pandemic. It has risen about 300% just from the pandemic alone. So racism still exists in our country, and it's something that we really need to be passionate about and work on, because our country's better than this. And we can do so much to help the community, to help our fellow people. I mean, humans are humans at the end of the day, and everyone deserves a chance to be treated as such and to be loved.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, because sometimes we hear racism when we think of just one race, or it's a black and a white issue, and there is racism against Asian Americans. I mean, you're a Korean American, and I know you've had slurs. You've had, I think when we first started talking, I said, talk to me about what's been going on the past 2 years, and you were candid to say, really, it's been my whole life. And you were adopted as well, if I may say, and so that adds another layer of complexity onto it. How do you navigate that, and now raising biracial children, as you document on Raising Whasians? How have you learned to come to terms with that and celebrate that?
That's a super hard question. I mean, the biggest thing is I want my kids to grow up knowing that half of them is Korean, and they should be proud of that. I mean, I honestly have not been proud to be Korean my whole life, and it's taken many, many years to come to a place where I can be who I am and be proud of who I am. And, all the racial stuff, all of the childhood slurs, even as an adult now, as an influencer, I get these things daily, weekly, monthly, and it's things that people don't realize actually exist all the time. Yeah. And I just want people to know that, you can really impact people with your words, and that we need love and support as much as the next person.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I know it's not easy to talk about this, but that's the beauty of a month like this, is that it gives people a chance to share their personal story, right? You can't speak for everyone, but you can share what is true for you. Can you tell those of us that are not falling into that community how we can support those in the community? What can we do to, just to be a support?
I think the biggest thing is that Asians in general, we're usually talked down as the submissive race. And now that we're beginning to speak up, we need more than just us speaking up. It needs to be other people. So you can confront any microaggressions happening in your community. You can check in with fellow Asian family and friends, see how they're doing, and be sure to really listen to them and listen with empathy. Support Asian small businesses. even things like learning how to value people's names and how to pronounce them and spell them correctly. And then look around you. I mean, am I the only Asian face that you've seen lately? You know,
Yeah.
Are there Asian people in your workplace, in your
I love that you said that. And I think, you know, to be able to look around and say, if that's the only face that we know, it's time to meet more faces. Christie, thank you so much for being here.
And thank you so much for having me, Sammy. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you too.